Hey, Retro here. Today's video is on the debate between Tiki and Spooky armor, and which one is better? Well, if you want the short answer, then Tiki armor is probably what you're looking for. But if you want a loadout specific answer, then keep watching and I'll discuss how you can optimize your loadout. Now, the reason I say Tiki armor is the short answer is because it's simply way easier to get. All you need is a bit of money and the Witch Doctor, and your armor is literally ready for Moonlord. For most people, this is what they'll do. But if you are interested in maybe spending a bit of time dilly-dallying to get the best loot available, then it might be worth considering the other options. This is where the whole argument comes from. Which summoner armor is better? Well, to make it simple and objective, I've got two clips of golem fights, which we'll look at side by side, and then we'll analyze each fight to see how the armor is impacting the boss fight. Okay, so we have Tiki on the left and Spooky on the right. From the get-go, Spooky immediately takes the lead with significantly more damage. This is where I just wanted to add that the advantages of Tiki armor are the whip range that the set bonus gives, which is very useful in certain boss fights, but not particularly the golem fight, because golem usually does have a very small arena. Unlike Spooky, which does not give any range, but it gives more damage, since the whips already have a lot of range, it doesn't actually matter that Tiki armor gives more range. But in a different boss fight, such as maybe the Empress of Light, that whip range would go a long way, especially in like the daytime version, where you're going to need a lot of extra range because you need to stay as far away from the boss as possible. Okay, so Spooky did beat the boss faster, but is it worth doing a lot of pumpkin moons to get the Spooky wood? Probably not, especially with pre-golem gear. That event can be kind of annoying. But just to make sure, let's watch the fights individually to see where the armors are coming in and what difference they're actually making. Now, with the Tiki armor, you'll notice how I'm hitting every segment of golem at once, every swing, which is very good for getting rid of the hands and progressing golem into the next phase of the boss fight. Spooky doesn't actually do that unless you get very close. You'll usually only hit one of the hands or just the head, which is where the question of survivability comes into the equation. Now, Tiki armor obviously gives more defense than Spooky armor, so it would be better for survivability. But not only that, it also gives more range, which means you don't have to get as close to the bosses, as I mentioned earlier with the Empress of Light. So if you want to survive, I would recommend Tiki armor. However, if you're looking to maximize your damage, I would actually recommend either Spooky or the Old One's Army armor. Though the Old One's Army armor has a similar problem to the Spooky armor where it's extremely annoying to obtain, so you may as well just use Tiki. Now let's check out the Spooky boss fight. Now the problem I have with Spooky armor is it's actually a really cool armor and I'd love to use it more, but because you have to do a bunch of pumpkin moons, I just never end up using it. You'll notice how my whips don't reach as far, and sometimes they won't even be hitting him because I dashed away. You'll notice how golem also does a lot more damage when I'm in the Spooky armor. Alright, for a conclusion, Tiki armor for defense, Spooky armor for damage. Though Spooky armor is so hard to get, I wouldn't even consider it an option and I'd just go straight for Tiki armor. Alright, thanks for watching, please subscribe and go check out my other videos.